2414 is a podcast about finding hope and common ground through casual conversation. Like the friends on the road in the New Testament, in Luke chapter 24, verse 14, we want to walk away with more understanding that leads to more conversation as the journey continues. Thanks for walking with us.
The nerds have launched a rebellion. It's a full-scale, district-wide nerd uprising. They've had Avery in the science lab for a week now.
That's it.
We got a picture of him with a sidewell to his throat and a list of demands.
I love it. And that,
as do I.
Yeah, we've got demands as well. That, folks, we're trying out some new openings here at 2414, and that opening is brought to you by the one and only Autumn Church. Autumn, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
That was terrible.
And silly. No, it wasn't terrible. It was delightful. And if people are listening to this early enough on Saturday morning, the moment this drops, they can still show up at St. Luke's on Saturday, August 6th for our summer drama camp production of an adaptation of Charlotte's Web.
Yes.
Featuring our guest today, Autumn Church. Autumn, welcome, Shane.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh.
There we go.
There it is.
I did it. I remembered.
It's a gamble with these buttons. We don't know what's going to happen. So, hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the conversation here at 2414 on the road together, sharing conversation, experience in real life. Today, we're joined by Autumn Church, who's going to get to share her experience, journey so far, faith, spiritual life, but especially we're zooming in on the LCMS, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod Youth Gathering that was in Houston, Texas, just a couple weeks ago. But before we do that, we're going to do lows and highs. And Shane, the question of the day is, what's the chore at your home or apartment, like a household maintenance cleaning thing?
I know what it is.
That is the worst. Like, what would you trade anything to avoid having to do? This is prompted by the fact that as a staff, we needed a plunger yesterday for one of our preschool facilities, and it was not a pleasant experience from what I'm told. But thankfully, I was indisposed and unavailable to come to the rescue.
We're gone. Yep.
So, lows and highs, and have you had any cleaning household chores that have scarred you?
No. All right.
No to the question.
Yes, you do. Don't lie.
So Shane, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm kind of re-waking up again, drinking some coffee to second wind of the day.
Did you take a nap?
While awake, yeah. It feels like I just woke up from a nap, but I didn't. That's the sad part. Highs and lows. I'll swing off with a low. The giant house spiders are making a comeback, and Lauren and I have the record one. We found the biggest house spider yet, and this thing is gargantuan. So I was playing Xbox, and I saw something in the corner of my eye. We freaked out. And as I was about to vacuum it like in the blink of an eye, like in a bolt, like a flash of lightning, it was just gone. It was so fast. A fully mature giant house spider. Look it up.
I want to see pictures with scale, like with a dollar bill next to it. Or
the best I could do was just in the vacuum, because I vacuumed it up, and it's a see-through vacuum, and it will not die.
Do you have a picture of it in the vacuum?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got video of it crawling around in the vacuum.
I'd like to see that.
It's like the size of a silver, it's not silver dust, sand dollar. Like
Shane
probably
said
bigger.
sand dollar, but he's holding up his hands a little bit larger than a softball.
Yes.
So
like its leg span is the size of a softball.
So its body is the size of it, like
no, its body is a little smaller, but like it has a leg to body ratio that's just huge,
like a medium-sized cantaloupe.
Yeah. I digress. This thing is gargantuan. It's still alive. I missed what you said, so I just wasn't listening.
I'm just laughing at Autumn's laughing at you.
Okay, cool. So that's my low. They're coming back, and it's summer, and so they shouldn't even be in our house. They're not even paying rent.
When is the season? What's the season for giant house spiders?
Well, I thought it was fall when the temperature started to drop, because then they want to come inside. But no, it's just are alive.
The invasion.
Well, it
has
was
begun.
really hot, and now it's gotten much cooler, like really fast.
That's
so they
true.
might just be stupid.
They just maybe like the damp, cool basement. I don't know.
All right. So what's your high,
that's not
Shane?
fun. High
Or highs?
My summer's calming down. Well, I guess sorry. Yeah, so my summer's calming down. With that, I was also just in Alaska for a mission trip in Hoona, Alaska. It's just south of Juneau. We did good work. There was a lot that could have gone wrong, but God was good, and things worked out in the community, and our relationships kind of shined. So everything was good.
Got to go on a whale watching boat,
Went
not
on
a
a
whale
whale-
watching tour.
Yeah, a whale. Well, we did go on a whale watching tour. When we saw a bear, so
Counts.
no whales. And then to get home, our plane was canceled, so we took a boat to Juneau. So that was fun. And I'm also just now excited because I was kind of like the last big thing of the summer. So now I just kind of can get back in routine, and so that's enjoyable. And then
Worst household chore.
for me, I would have to say easily dishes. It's just I've never been motivated to do dishes. I just do them like begrudgingly. I just I don't want to get my hands wet. I don't want to get them soggy. I don't want to.
Hands
Okay, I am totally fine with unloading the dishes. Unloading is fine. I don't care.
yeah,
but I
that's-
hate to load. It's just like
Loading, or if you've got the big pot that can't go in the dishwasher and you have to hand wash things.
Hand washing.
Hand wash the wooden spoons that you mix things
Those are
with.
gross. Throw them
you,
away.
you
Yeah,
can put those in.
Those
the
are single
dishwasher.
use. No, those are single use.
You gotta single use.
wooden spoons are gross. It's like wooden cutting
Right,
boards.
so you've got a budget at your home for wooden utensils.
Just don't use them.
Uh-uh.
You learn once.
But I
So
can-
hand
okay,
washing
well,
dishes is the worst. That's my
That's just-
favorite. That's my favorite.
So I know you and me were both dishwashers. You did it longer than me.
I love
but
it.
I was fine with it as a job, but I got paid for it. At home, I'm not paid for this. I just have to do it to get dishes.
I'm not paid for this.
It just sucks.
I'm not getting paid. I'm not going to vacuum.
No. Okay,
What am I, a maid?
I love vacuuming. I love cleaning and tidying up. But dishes is just the one thing that
All right.
Mm-mm.
That's fair.
All right. I talked for a long time.
That's good. We got to move along here. My this is Pastor Dan speaking. My low it's kind of wrapped up with my high. We went down to Sacramento, California for a track meet last weekend. Which
You said
was my family and I. So
Okay.
my middle son was competing, and our club was down there. So the low was it was a long time in the car. So it was like a 13-hour drive down on Friday, and then drove back on Sunday, basically.
What'd you do in the car?
So that's my high.
Okay.
Is
All
I
right.
got to
Sorry, I don't-
I got to listen to some podcasts. One, I got to listen to our 2414 with Kat Johnson that I wasn't part of the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to listen to that. That was amazing. I was blown away. But I also got to listen to some other podcasts. One was a Harvard professor named Arthur Brooks. I think Arthur C. Brooks, who's a author and researcher and sociologist, talking about happiness and just what data shows about what it means to be happy, especially later in life. And then a lady, she's a professor at MIT. Tweedy was her last name. I can't think of her first name, but she
Tweety.
was originally writing about artificial intelligence, and then as her career progressed, one of her most recent books was called Reclaiming Conversation, and just the importance of having real conversation, having space to talk. And so it was really cool. These very diverse academic people saying things that really resonated with me, and I hope I don't just listen because they agreed with me, but it was really affirming to say, hey, what matters in life, and why is conversation so important? So I was like, yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to have conversation and figure out what really matters. So that's some of my lows and highs. The home chore that I could never ever do again was one time Charlotte, my wife, dropped I don't know if it was a ring or an earring, some piece of jewelry down our bathroom sink, and it got caught in that little J drain that collects every unholy thing. It's just green sludge and slime, and you take it apart, and I was just gagging. And I'll do dishes till Jesus comes back if I never have to clean out the J drain underneath.
Well, you know whose fault is the J drain?
No.
The dishes. All the dish grime and everything gets...
This is our bathroom sink, though. It was just normal drainage.
Toothpaste.
And shavings and... Anyway, so that's
probably been your fault because you have to shave.
It was my sink. Yeah, or the previous owners, but yeah, who knows what was going on there. So cleaning out the drain receptacle thingy under the sink. I'll do dishes and mow the lawn and pull weeds every day if I never have to do that again.
Pastor Dan hates J drains.
Yeah,
I get it. All right,
they're unholy. Our guest today, Autumn Church. Hi, Autumn.
Hi.
Lows, highs, and what's that household chore that you could do without?
My high is probably the fact that
she does a good bear impersonation.
Yeah, my high
so
is
do her giraffe impression later.
Yeah, my high is.
Let me hear your best giraffe. If you had to do a good giraffe, we heard the bear.
I've never heard a giraffe.
All right, well,
what does the giraffe say?
If you know what a giraffe sounds like, comment below.
Giraffe.
All right, so Autumn, sorry, you were starting with your high. And then you growled at us and I jumped.
My high is that the show's coming up and I'm really excited for that. And my low is probably the
When you say the show, what do you mean?
Charlotte's Web. Yeah, but it's a weird Greg and Lee alteration, so it's not Charlotte's Web. If you come to the show and you're like, it's going to be Charlotte's Web, I love this movie or this book. No. Okay. It's not.
So here at St. Luke's, we have a drama camp or theater camp. What's the official name?
Drama camp.
Drama camp, where children of all ages learn drama skills, and after the end of a 2-week intense camp, they put on a production for 3 shows, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's this weekend. Mm-hmm. Cool.
But don't come to Friday.
Don't come to Friday.
You're coming to Friday because you can't do anything else. But if you can, don't come to Friday.
Avoid opening night at all costs.
There's going to be 150 people in there.
Oh my goodness. I thought you were going to avoid it because it's bad, but you're saying avoid it because it's going to be so crowded.
Yeah.
All right.
Make sure the crowd is...
I'm sorry.
It's going to be crazy.
I'm sorry that I misread your warning.
Yeah. There's just going to be a lot of people. And my low is probably the fact that my throat I've just had this ongoing cough. I'm not actually sick. I just can't stop coughing. It's just annoying.
That might be the definition of being sick. I don't know.
Well, I don't feel sick.
I'm not sick. I just got a runny nose and I can't stop coughing and it's fever. But besides that, I'm fine.
No, I have no fever, no runny nose.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about. Just every time you wake up, it's just coughing up phlegm, but you're never sick.
There's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah. I know. I get it.
And probably my least favorite household chore is probably taking out the garbage. Because, I can do the dishes. I don't love loading the dishes, but I'll do it if I have to. But everything else, pretty much everything else, I can do with music. Vacuuming, mowing the lawn, everything. And I just turn on a musical or country music or whatever. And
so taking out the trash.
I hate taking
the bag into the can or the can to the curb? What do you...
bag into the can.
That's the part.
There's no one knows what's in that bag.
Are you guys ripping bags so it's dripping sludge throughout the house, or you just don't like the weight of the bag? What's the deal?
I think it's mostly the fact that there could be they put
who knows what's in the bag? The mystery of it all.
There's old leftovers, and there's if Dad's lunch sits in his bag for the weekend, and then when Mom gets to clean it out, puts in the garbage, and then
come on, Carl, step up your lunch game here.
Yeah.
So it's just the mysterious unknown of what's on the other side of this plastic.
What is touching my leg as I carry this?
Okay, I can see how that's gross. I don't mess around with the dishwasher very much. I load it poorly, so I whatever my efforts are, Charlotte just has to undo it later. So I like hand washing dishes. That's my jam. I could do that.
But dishwasher, that's the limit.
I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to fit right. I get frustrated.
Yeah, for the first for the first 5 years, not 5 years, for 10 years of my life, the boys always load the dishes. Emily and I would unload, the boys would load. It's the way it happened every time. And then the boys started unloading, and it was weird, and I had no clue how to load the dishes. Yeah, and I got to drag the creepy bag of mystery trash. Yeah. Oh, cool. All right. On that note,
bag of mystery trash.
This is part of Autumn's house cleaning journey so far. Autumn, we're today talking about the recent youth gathering in Houston, Texas. It was looking at the book of Colossians, specifically verses chapter 1, verses 15 to 20. And In All Things was the name of the theme. And for our listeners who have no idea what in all things meant or means,
Listen to the song.
and it started by talking about kind of the story of all things, like that the Bible recounts as God would have us know it and believe it, sort of the narrative of the entirety of all things. So if I had to put you on the spot to summarize in your own words, in just a kind of concise little moment, what's the story of all things? How would you summarize? So if you're giving like a Charlotte's Web plot summary, you could give it a Charlotte's Web plot summary. But and I'm not asking about like a summary of the Bible per se, but as Scripture tells us the story of all things, what's the story of all things plot line?
I think the story of all things probably is from beginning to end, from when God created the world to when Jesus came, when Jesus promised he'd come back, and from now till he does.
And so what's is there, most stories have like conflict and resolution and characters and setting. What's the story of all things all about? By the way, Autumn had no idea what I was going to ask her. She's just like, I thought I was going to tell you what I had for lunch and what we did each day. And I'm like, all right, Pastor, coming out swinging here.
Yeah. But you have to ask me the question again. I'm trying to
figure so if you were summarizing Charlotte's Web, maybe we'll start there. If you had to summarize the story of Charlotte's Web.
It's a story about this pig who was a runt, so they were going to kill him off, and someone saved him in the beginning, and then it was possible he could be eaten for dinner, and then a different person saved him from that, and then he just kept being saved until he was assured of his safety.
I love it. So what's the story of the universe according to the Bible? The story of all things?
That is a really weird question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
You're the pastor.
Yeah. Why don't you answer?
I didn't take a.
It's something I'm wrestling with.
I didn't write a 30-page paper.
Yeah. No. It's. I think even people listening right now, it's. You can pause it if you want, but think about how would you answer. What's the unfolding story that started before us and will wrap up after us that somehow our lives are tied up in? Like we're part of this. And the answer could be nothing. It's all random and meaningless, and it came from nothing, and it's going to end in fire, and we're here for a blink, and then we die, and that's the story of everything.
That would be very sad.
Yeah, I mean,
we can break down the question. So like, instead of like, what's the whole story? What's the conflict?
What's the problem with the world?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the problem in the world, Shane? Huh?
Well, no, I asked it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Right?
All right. So we got some big questions we're wrestling with. I want to dig into your time in Houston. What was an average day like? Walk us through. When did you get up? What did you do first? What did you do next? What happened between leaving the pillow and getting back to the pillow? What was a normal day in Houston, Texas?
Well, in my room, we determined that I would shower in the morning with Bella, and then the other two would shower at night.
But you say with Bella, I'm assuming you and Bella had the morning showers. Just to clarify?
Not
clarifying?
not at the same time. That'd be kind of weird.
Just clarifying.
Yeah.
So you had the morning shower?
I had the morning shower, and then sometimes I would go eat breakfast. I think I only missed breakfast once, though. So I had breakfast pretty much every day. They had really good breakfast at our hotel. That was good.
It was really good.
It was good food.
Yeah.
And then we'd go to Shane and Fish's room. Fish's? That's weird.
Fishes.
Shane and Fish's room, and we'd talk about what we're going to do for the day. And we all had to be there at 9 o'clock, which was more like 9:05 for Ben and Tyler.
Shout out.
They'd get out. Sorry, guys, but you were always late. Yeah, and then we'd go downstairs. We'd walk to the convention center, and pretty much from there we'd split off into the buddy system. we'd go to different sessions. We'd spend time on the ground floor.
So what's the session at the convention center? What is
Well, we had an app on our phone that told us like what each one was about. But I think actually the first one I went to was the Marvel one.
So these like different speakers on different topics?
Different speakers, different topics. But they had the same topics every day. So they had a bunch of different topics, but they spread them out so that everyone could go to like all of them if they wanted to, I think.
Okay. So you said Marvel?
Yeah. It was basically like the gospel according to Marvel, I think was what it was called. It was complicated. It was a mess. It was crazy, but it was actually really cool. And then, so you'd go to sessions throughout the day, have lunch. If you had lunch, I never had lunch. I made a sandwich the first 2 days, and then I stopped because I just wouldn't eat lunch.
Which we don't recommend or endorse. We think food is important, but
eat lunch.
Autumn made her own choices.
We did everything we could to have the kids eat.
I'm just not good at eating lunch. I had breakfast.
Okay, so after optional lunch?
After optional lunch, you can just, most of the time you just go to more sessions, hang out with friends. They had so many games on the ground floor that I love. They had like 9 Square and Gaga Ball, but everyone there was like playing so hard and we're so good at it that I was like, no, I'm good. I just feel so terrible. I can beat 10 people at Gaga Ball, but not 25.
It's a little too many at that point.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But and then we'd meet up normally at if you're looking at it from the outside, the right end of the convention center, and then we'd walk over to Minute Maid Park, and we'd go sit in our seats, and we'd do the mass event, which was awesome. They were all very fun. And then we'd go back to our hotel rooms. I think pretty much every night until it was closed, we swam in the pool. Nice. And then we went to bed.
Awesome. It's been a couple weeks now, I guess, since the gathering. When you look back or when somebody says, how was the gathering, do you have like a single image? Like what kind of mental image captured the youth gathering for you? Like when I think about the gathering, I picture this. Do you have like a picture in your head that kind of sums up your experience or your kind of go-to image?
Yeah, I feel like when you were asking the question, I kind of just thought of like a bunch of different things, like the mass events, and looking down and like seeing all the people around me, which was awesome.
So what does it look like at the mass event? So if most people who are listening weren't there, haven't been there, you're at Minute Maid Park, which is a baseball stadium, and when you look out, what do you see? Paint a picture for us. Well,
on the first day we sat on the very top, so there's people on the floor below us and then on the bottom, and there's 18,000-ish people there, and they're spread out. And it's crazy because you especially don't think that there's that many people who believe the same thing as you and trust the same God. But then you just then you look and there's a million people there, and it's crazy. It feels so good.
And they're all wearing the same backpack. That's what I picture.
And it's like different shirts. It's like orange is here, and then there's like
very
yellow
coordinated
and green.
In their t-shirts.
There's like bunches of colors. It's awesome.
Yeah. So that's an image that stands out, is at Minute Maid Park, seeing lots and lots of people in coordinated t-shirts. Is there I want to zoom in for a second, a close shot. So that's like a wide angle shot of tens of thousands of people in the stadium. If you think about a small moment at the gathering, are there any kind of zoomed in moments that's like, that kind of captures my gathering experience?
I really enjoyed a bunch of the sessions, but I feel like a picture that also came to my mind was when I was actually taking a picture of all the guys piled in a bathtub.
I was not expecting that. I guess tell me more, maybe. I don't know.
One of the challenges was to take a picture of as many people as you can fit it in a tight space. And immediately, somebody, one of our people was like, let's see how many people we can get in a bathtub. So we got in like a bathtub in your house, like a small shower bathtub combo. And I think, was everybody in there?
No. But
who was not in there? I mean, you were like standing outside saying, "Take the picture."
I sat on the lip of the tub.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to kill any
Yeah,
of the
there
kids.
was, because like they were like laying, so it's like person. It was like a stack of people,
Okay.
and then like, and they were fine, and then fish sat like in the middle on top, and they were like, take the picture. It was so funny.
All right.
So they had fun with our group
was
had
fun.
fun with the challenge
It kind of
for the pre-event.
For the pre-event, it was amazing.
Love it. So that sounds like an intense moment that I would not enjoy very much.
I did not want to be in it, but they were like, "Get in." I was
Get
like,
in.
I'll sit on the outside and pretend I'm part.
It was insane.
Now, Autumn, did you know most of the people from our group before you went?
Yes, I did know pretty much everybody. Yeah. I think I knew everybody.
Did you find that this time away together, did you get to talk more? Were you so busy running around on your own things you didn't really talk at all?
I feel like with some people I did talk more, but yeah, I think yes, that. Yeah, with some people I talked more, but that was pretty much it. I feel like, yeah, I didn't see my brothers at all, but I know them pretty well.
Yeah, you're probably okay with that.
And there were a couple of people that I didn't see much because I was just with a different group of people, or they were running around doing a million sessions, like some people.
So did those friendships change? And if things were like really bad and rocky, you don't have to share too much. But were there frustrating moments, or were there like, wow, this is a new side of this person, or that's who I thought they were?
I feel like I did end up spending a lot of time with the two people who didn't come to youth group all the time, so I didn't know them as well. So I feel like I got to know them better, which was nice.
So what's it? I was gonna ask, what's it like to get to know somebody better? But I guess I'm curious how do you do that? I think I was talking to somebody earlier just today, actually, that as adults, it's sometimes really hard to make friends and hard to get to know people. And so, was there anything that was especially helpful on this trip for you to, what was the context, or what did it take for you to get to know each other better?
I feel like we knew each other, but we didn't know a lot about each other. So we were like friends and good friends, but we just didn't know each other very well. So I feel like just spending time with them was really nice.
And spending time, is that like 20 minutes at coffee in the morning, or is it like 6 hours together all day? What does spending time look like?
It wouldn't be 20 minutes at coffee, it'd be like an hour and a half at coffee because the line was long.
So an hour and a half of coffee because the line was long, but even that could be frustrating, but it provided a space and a context.
Yeah. But yeah, I think just like going between sessions, that time you spend like walking and talking and getting to know them better was nice.
So Shane, as a man with a beard, as a somewhat grown up, loosely at least,
maybe.
How does Autumn's experience of standing in line, getting coffee as context for conversation, how does that translate to your quote unquote adult life?
As in, like,
so you don't have 4 hours to stand around waiting for something, and that's where you're going to talk to your friends. So where are those margins, or how do you have space or time to talk to people, or how could you?
You saying just at the youth gathering, or like
just
in
life?
general?
Like, so
okay.
If at the youth gathering, Autumn got to connect deeper because she was sort of forced to stand in line, and that potentially painful experience of being forced to stand in line actually gave her the context she needed to connect well. At least that's what I heard you say. I'm wondering what that looks like in grown-up life. Yeah, like normal adult life.
Yeah, I think, well, it kind of semi relates to our series on transitions when we had the Gallaghers on here for moving, and like how do you find relationships when you're in a new spot in life, and that basically never changes because we're always trying to find and build relationships. And with that, like, I don't know, like work was some, or just work was some, similar interests, hobbies were others. I know for myself, like work, that's a big one, but also just in adulthood, finding time for conversation is literally making time for conversation. Not all the time. I love spontaneous conversation, but like inviting someone into your home or having them invite you is one of the greatest opportunities you can to get to know someone. And even like, I think for like in youth or like adolescence, when you're not an adult, inviting people over feels different when it's like, you're not like the adult at home. So it's like, it's not a sleepover anymore. You're grown adults. That's weird. So like you're inviting them for dinner and conversation and camaraderie and just getting to know them. But some aspects of it are similar because, I don't know, kids and adults invite each other over because it's fun. Yeah. But I think adults need more convincing that like people are good.
So it's almost like there's more formality in scheduling it, whereas they sort of happen naturally at the gathering. And maybe for young people, it's a little bit easier to say, let's go do this fun thing together. But maybe as adulthood, it's just like, it's not necessarily fun. It's more just like, do you want to come over and have a meal?
Yeah. And I think something that helped at the gathering, at the end of each night or some nights or certain moments throughout the day, we, the adult leaders, would have groups or a big group or just time with specific people, and we'd kind of prompt you guys for questions, like for one another, or like that you'd kind of think and process out loud. And I think that definitely helped. I hope it helped for you guys.
Yeah, it was really nice.
To kind of just process things like as a group, and that way like this group processing also like helped you to get to know everyone better.
So at the end of a long day, there were some discussion starter questions, and the group got to share together.
Yeah. And like, I mean, it's like specifically on the very last night.
Yeah.
Like after the last mass event that at night, we made some questions, and we had small groups, and we kind of asked them together. But I also, from what I heard, I think you guys rooming together too were also like great catalysts or great just excuses, because what else are you going to do? Well, you guys are in the same room for so long.
So what was that like, Autumn, having kind of end of the day conversations?
It was really fun. I was in a room with a bunch of girls, so it's interesting too because girls are funny or hilarious. But yeah, that was fun. I feel like yeah.
As you were describing that, I was thinking of Kat's conversation on the show here, how on a weekly level, she'd mentioned something like her mom would ask, what'd you think of church today, or what stood out to you from the sermon or the music or the readings, that deliberately taking time to like process a shared experience of, here's how I experienced that, here's what I saw or heard or stood out to me. What about you? That takes some intentionality or like a repeated rhythm in place, because I don't know, there's probably all kinds of things that we all do with or around, or like with kids, they call it parallel play, when kids just like kind of play next to each other instead of with each other. And I think we probably do that into adulthood a lot of.
Easily.
We could both watch the Cardinals beat the Cubs today. But it takes an added step to say, like, what did you enjoy about watching the game together? Or I don't know, just some kind of follow up of, hey, we watched this game together. Like, what over the last 2.5 hours, what stood out to you? Like, oh, I love that moment when it was really intense and it was a full count and blah, blah, blah. Or I loved it when that fan made the awesome play. Of just like, what did you experience that happened nightly at the gathering? As Kat shared, that's something that she and her mom do somewhat regularly, going home from worship. But I think that could probably be built into all kinds of stuff. So like, you're going home from drama camp today, and it probably wouldn't be too hard to ask mom or whatever siblings are with you, like, hey, what was your, what made you laugh today? Or what was a hard thing about today? Or if you could do one thing over from camp today, like, what would you do over? And it's not hard, but takes intentionality to, I want to hear your experience of this.
So where are you going with all this?
Where am I going?
Like conversation and like.
Yeah, I'm just trying to process aloud and learn how we connect well. And so one of the things I heard you guys say is that at the end of each day at the gathering, you took time to check in, and instead of just sort of living life sort of like ever forward and never looking back, it sounded like there was some value in saying, before we finish today, let's take a minute and look back on today together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's not necessarily normal. Like that's not, I'd be curious of how many people have that built into their rhythm of life, of when they finish an experience, do they go back and talk through it? Or is it always just, well, on to the next thing, and tomorrow's a new day, and the next day is a new day, and we got this thing in 2 weeks, and it's just like, it's ever forward as opposed to, hey, remember that thing that we just did? Like, can we talk about that for a minute? Mm-hmm. I don't do that naturally. Yeah, but it seems like there'd be a lot of value in slowing down and both sharing my experience and hearing other people's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question.
That's where I'm going with it.
What is that?
What is what?
That.
You say that. People can't see you. They just hear you.
I know. What's the Santa holding a calendar? There's 143.
There's behind me in the corner, there's a Santa Claus holding a chalkboard, not a whiteboard, a blackboard, chalkboard with 143 on it. Well, when we designed this space for our podcast, Shane insisted that we bring that in here.
A lie.
So
it's a lie.
He said, if we don't have Santa holding a chalkboard, I'm out. So I said, well, we'll find the Santa holding a chalkboard.
Don't believe his lies.
So you sit on a throne of lies. Good Santa reference there.
Oh my gosh.
So he keeps us company and counts down.
What? Christmas?
We'll see. Yeah.
I assume it's Christmas.
Yeah, it's good.
Maybe. I don't know. The world may never know. In regards to the gathering, and I guess when you're looking back on it now, whatever, 2 or 3 weeks, however long it's been since the gathering, what has been one of your biggest takeaways in regards to your faith walk, in regards to like where you're at in your whole belief system?
I'm doing it again. I feel like I really liked the message on middle words. I feel like that was really fun, which I know is weird.
How would you summarize that for people who have no idea what you're talking about?
I know. Heard that like people say like, oh, I really like this, and no one has any clue what they're saying. It's really about like the fact that like the middle is about like between when Jesus was here and before Jesus comes back. So it's about, when people die, because when Jesus comes back, people will rise from the grave, and any hurt that you feel won't be in the end. It won't be an end word. And stuff like that. Just those things that you feel that are bad now will be good later.
Yeah. So like even like Charlotte's Web, you gave your summary earlier. In Wilbur, was that his name? Mm-hmm. In the middle of Charlotte's Web, like Wilbur's facing death over and over again. Right? Is that what you said earlier? Yes. I don't remember the story very well.
When was the last time you read it?
When's the last time I read Charlotte's Web? Gosh, decades.
I mean, I was probably 8.
Yeah, decades ago. But so in the middle of the story, it's really scary and it looks bad. But in the end, ultimately, what's going to sort of prevail is it's going to be a good story because it has a good ending. And in the middle, you might lose sight of that. Yeah. But there's hope even when all you see is kind of the middle of it. Yeah. So, yeah, Pastor Zach Zenders, pastor at King of Kings in Omaha, Nebraska, where I served before I came out here. And he was a kind of keynote speaker one of the nights. Yeah, it's a good talk.
Author of the Red Letter Challenge.
Yeah. Very cool.
Some midwords.
Yeah, some midwords. I know. Oh my gosh. Crazy.
They're
mid.
Everybody was saying
teenagers say mid now. Like it's kind of meh.
Okay.
When it's like meh, they say it's mid. So
okay, meh.
They're like
mid.
So afterwards they're like, they should have just said they're mid. Middle words are mid. Ben Newman said those things. He's
All right. So Autumn, before we wrap it up here, if you had to share one moment from the whole gathering that you're like, oh, I want to share this one thing, whether it's on the way there, while you're there, on the way home. Do you have a standout memory of the whole gathering experience?
I feel like the one I probably remember the most is probably one of the sessions I went to. It was called Good Relationships for Girls, and it was by who was this? Pam. Oh yeah.
Pam Stensler, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
What about it?
I feel like all the stuff she like explained that I never knew about, like how it said things are bad for you and stuff. So, yeah. Out of marriage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So proper relationships,
yes.
and specifically for women.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thanks for taking time today to laugh and deliver some of your lines from the upcoming production, and share some experiences. You have a Cheez-It shirt on today.
I do. Love Cheez-Its.
The snack crackers. I've got a generic purple shirt on. Shane's wearing a blue Green Bay Packers shirt.
It's all right.
This is us. So whether you were watching or whether you were listening, the three of you who are still with us, thanks for being part of the conversation. As Shane was asking here at the end, where are we going with some of this? I don't know. We're just, I'm just enjoying the conversation, talking with friends, learning about life, learning about one another, trying to figure out what it looks like to live well and to experience the fullness of life. So we're going to continue hearing people's journeys of faith, of life, some more experiences at the youth gathering. And we got a couple bonus episodes coming up. Looking forward to sharing with you. Shane, any final words before we sign off for today?
Not mid-words.
Not mid-words. Just final words. You're so clever, Shane.
Answer's Jesus.
The answer's Jesus.
Whatever happened? We had Jan. We would always pick on Jan because she was the one Green Bay Packers fan. And then we hired Brenda and Shane.
Far too many.
What happened?
Jan was in charge of the hiring process.
Yeah, clearly the Green Bay Packer fans are taking over the world.
Yes. Terrible. We all know. But final words. Final words is, man,
come on, Shane.
Jesus. I can't.
Cool.
I don't know. We just.
Shane, thanks for being part of this. Thanks for your behind the scenes labors to help make this happen. Autumn, I look forward to having more conversations offline and hearing kind of where the journey goes next. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you want to add to the conversation, that's awesome. Whether it's through email or a text message or show up on a Sunday morning here or leaving a review or best yet, just have a real conversation with a real person. Maybe something today is a prompt for you. For me, one of the things I'm taking away from today's conversation is to slow down and ask other people's experiences of things we've gone through together, whether it's a normal thing or a kind of mountaintop experience. You know, even my low was driving for 13 hours. I haven't talked to my kids about that. Hey, what was it like for you to go on a 13-hour road trip? Like, it might be worth having a hot cocoa and just kind of hearing what their experience was like, because they watched movies for, over and over behind me. Mm-hmm. And so we had probably very different experiences of that same moment. So I'm gonna try to be more intentional to hear how other people experience things, even if I was there and think I know what it was like.
I'll add to that, not even here, but to ask.
Yeah, to ask. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do with this conversation today. So thanks for giving me that. We'll see you next time.
That's the end of the episode, but we want to continue the conversation. Continue the conversation by sharing this episode, subscribing, or leaving a review. Connect with us on Instagram at 2414podcast. Connect with us through email at 2414@stlukes-church.com. Or best of all, keep the conversation going by inviting someone to process with you, so that you can each walk away with more understanding that leads to more conversation as the journey continues. If you happen to be in the Seattle-Tacoma area of Washington, stop by on a Sunday morning and say hi. 2414 is a podcast produced by St. Luke's Lutheran Church in Federal Way, Washington. To find more content, discover upcoming opportunities to connect in person, or to support the show, head on over to stlukes-church.com. Thanks for walking with us.